I was obsessed with recreating the reality of it because in the recreation, you create something new. That's my feeling. It's basically like therapy in a way, if you think about it. You talk about what happened, and by talking about what happened and putting it outside, you understand a little bit about it differently. So that's what's happening here in film form, I guess. Hi, I'm Benny Safdie, and I wrote and directed The Smashing Machine, and this is Notes on a Scene.
イゴール・ボブチャンジンとの試合は無効試合になりました。
We have decided to call this fight with Igor no contest.
No contest.
This is just after Mark Kerr has lost his first professional fight. The way that I approached all of the scenes in the movie was, what if I was actually there? What if we had the ability to document what was happening, but from the point of view of an endless amount of cameras, potentially, but I was always conscious of where the cameras were prior. I have an idea of what shots I need. It's a very nice process with the actors. Okay, now we're gonna put the camera all the way over there, and it's gonna be very far away. This one's probably a 200 and something millimeter lens on a tripod, and it's zoomed in on the scene.
What'd they say?
I decided to call it a no contest.
That's awesome.
As they're approaching, you kind of can't even tell what you're looking at. But I find that very interesting because it places you in the scene and you kind of feel like you're hiding, and maybe you shouldn't have access to where you are.
That's awesome. Why are you still so sad?
Because, Don, I'm not sad. It's just, I don't do that for no contest. I want the decision. You know, I mean, it's just, I'm out there, I'm sacrificing everything. Literally, you know, I'm
I see
sacrificing everything
Yeah,
out
it's
there for the
very
reward
heavy.
at the end.
Right.
This camera is always kind of like zoomed in. So we kind of bury the zoom. That's a term I love. You bury the zoom in the movement of all these things. So now we're close on Dwayne this way. And I'm a big fan of wide eye lines. So as you can see, she's looking this way and he's looking kind of straight ahead. So the eye lines are correct, but they're very wide. You know, you normally, if you were to do this scene, you would do that and then you'd get right over and you'd kind of have them talking to each other and they'd be kind of more as I am looking at you. There's something about the wide eye line that tells you that you are watching a real situation. And in this, it's funny because this locker room was filled with people, filled with fighters and filled with this, and you don't really see them, and I have them actually talking. It kind of allows the actors to get into a frame of mind. I liked the fact that now you really are like with them. And this camera, you're really with her. She's really just trying to connect with him in this scene. And this one, you're a little bit more further away because he's very disconnected in the scene too. So even though you only have 2 camera positions, I've given myself the ability to now be in a place where you're with him. You know, he fills the frame essentially. It just like physically, you know, that was also very important. I asked Dwayne to get bigger in the movie. And so like you can see like the size of his body is just enormous because Mark was a huge guy.
There's no other high like it in the world.
I can only imagine. Yeah, I can see it. I can see it in you.
Just the element, the contradiction of how he's acting here with his physical size was very important. As we did the scene a couple of times, I didn't like that it was so clean. And I wanted to remind the viewer that you are in a real place. And so this guy comes from literally down the hallway here and he just blocks the frame. Normally you would cut this out and you wouldn't have that in the movie, but I think that this is important to see. Oh, first of all, the camera isn't as close as I thought it was, because if it was, this wouldn't be as out of focus. These are things that I don't think people actually maybe understand, but they feel it. So the fact that he comes in like this and completely obliterates the frame, you realize, oh wait, I'm not actually right up on the actors.
It's 40,000 people and they're cheering you on. I mean, that's orgasmic.
Yeah, no.
Don, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
You're sitting and watching a conversation of 2 people who aren't actually saying what they are talking about, which I just find interesting because then you have to read into the subtext and also the parts of their performance that are different. But the thing that's hard is you're not close to them. So it really is on the actors to bring a performance that's very real.
You had that feeling, you fought, you had the feeling, but you don't seem happy about it.
No. I'm trying to explain it to you, but you just keep talking.
Yeah, it's so raw. She goes, but you did that. You just experienced that. And then that move. When Dwayne did that, that just became, I was like, oh my, it's so dismissive. And this look on his face, like there's certain things that and then just to point out, Kazu did an incredible job with the prosthetics, but here he's just gotten beaten up. So he has a different eyepiece, a different part here. His nose is more swollen. There's a cut. You know, his eyebrows are swollen. This part of his ear is swollen. So we had to add a completely new level of prosthetics just for after the fight in this specific scene. Those were things that we had to think of, and we also had to take the time to kind of, in the middle of the shoot, he had to then go and get another 2.5 hours of makeup to change it all out to have this kind of beaten look to him. I do kind of have certain rules of like when I'm editing. Once you're in, you stay in. And when you go out, you have to have a reason to go out. And now, if you look, like this is basically a close-up of Dwayne. But when we started out, this is more of a medium shot. We're slowly getting in as the scene is going on. And I think that that's an important thing that you feel as a viewer as you're watching it, because you're building up as you're kind of getting closer to him and closer, and you're trying to understand and hear what he's talking about. But they were getting to a place where they were trying to have a moment. He brushes it off, and then we cut back out. So that like relieves the tension. You know that something is going to change within it.
No, I'm trying to understand what you're saying, and I'm trying to support you.
I know, but only because I'm trying to tell you exactly what happened.
And then this guy comes in and he's completely joking. He's so happy. This is also what I really wanted to show, is that these fighters are friends with each other. And there's a very close-knit community to them. And it's not what you would expect them to be. And in the original documentary, that's what's really special, is him and Igor have a very strange relationship. This guy just beat him up and made him feel the worst he's ever felt in his life. And yet afterwards, he can relate to this man 100%.
Hey, brother. How are you? Oh.
What wasn't real was Dawn wasn't there in this scene. And so I thought, to highlight their disconnect, I should put Dawn in the scene, because now you can see that he's relating to the person who physically just beat him up, but he can't relate to the person who loves him and is trying to connect with him. And I just thought that was really sad. And I feel bad for her there. I'm always shooting with 2 cameras all the time. And those 2 cameras are always moving and changing coverage so that I can have as much coverage as possible without switching positions. So I'm optimizing my ability to cover the scene without the time it would take to reset. There's like little things you probably don't even realize. All these things are built. All this stuff is built, and I really wanted the lights to be making this motion. This has to be Japan. So there has to be an element of like, so this, I don't know, this is a very Japanese design. You know, it's very thought through. This is the locker room, classy locker room with these lights. And again, finding the right lights that created that through the screen. I think this is an interesting turn here. Look at Dwayne here. They're in the middle of a fight, okay? They're in the middle of the fight, and instantly he turns and he's smiling. I'm like, that is psychotic. This guy has such a deep connection with Igor that Emily will never have with him. That difference is really kind of shocking.
Is that for me?
Yeah.
Це я зроблю.
Let me see. Can I
Добре,
see?
Дайте
добре.
подивлюсь, можна?
Nice.
And here they are joking about hitting each other. So that for me, let me see. These are the parts of performance that I am like obsessed with. First of all, he has the cut. It's an amazing job. This was Felix who did the makeup on this cut. But it's real tape. So he's pulling it off of his head. And then like we put a little bit of blood there. So these are the little details that I love.
How many stitches?
Скільки швів?
4.
4.
4 stitches.
4.
How else? The body feel okay?
Ще трохи коліно.
A little bit of the knee.
This person is a real Ukrainian translator. Not an actress. She translates Ukrainian for a living. She happens to look exactly like the person who was the translator for the real Igor Vovchanchin. And why I decided to do that, I have no idea.
You know why?
Знаєте чому?
A lot of my head.
Тому що дуже сильно
Так,
поговорив.
можливо. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
So there's 2 cameras here and there's 1 down the middle. Again, I'm still conscious of the fact that I don't want the other cameras to see each other. So in this scene, normally it would be very difficult to have all these points of view. It's still rooted in some kind of reality. And this guy he was a fighter from the time of Mark Kerr's career. And again, I just really populated the world with everybody who was from that time. The guy is actually Usyk's manager, Egis, who's an incredible person, but he's there. So Usyk, who's playing Igor, the 2 of them have a built-in relationship. This guy was from the time, so he's so excited, and he's a fighter himself. So he's like, I can't even believe I'm with the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. So there's a whole vibe going on of this kind of friendship. And Dawn is on the outside. And so we play the whole scene, and I just have it on her.
Tell him it's natural reaction.
Та нічого, це природне.
And she's not saying anything. She's just looking at him. And we know, because we've just seen it, this is a very different Mark than we saw before. Maybe he's performing, maybe he's being real. We don't know. Maybe he's putting on face for Igor, and he doesn't want him to see how upset he was. Either way, what she's seeing now, and this is what I think is incredible, is like, you can't make this up. She is looking directly at him. And it is like, she is so upset that, wow, this guy can't relate to me this way. And I don't know what to do. And it's a very devastating position to be in. The camera can literally just watch her as the whole scene is going on.
Нічого, це природна реакція.
My head was down there, my face is down there.
Знаєте що, голова дуже постраждала.
I know that Dwayne, being the person he is, as famous as he is, as well known as he is, he has those kind of arguments. Everybody does. You know, you have those kind of miscommunications in private. But this is a public moment in a way. So now we're getting to literally see Mark Kerr suppress his emotions and be the person that everybody expects him to be. And I remember specifically sending Dwayne a clip from It's a Wonderful Life. George Bailey gets the news about his brother having to go to work. When he gets the news, he realizes, oh my God, he's devastated. But as he walks to the other side, to the crowd where everybody's having a great time with his brother, he turns on a smile. And you know that that smile is not genuine. I think seeing that is really important. And it's very difficult acting-wise to do that. You know, it's Jimmy Stewart, one of the best. Now Dwayne is doing exactly that, where he is completely changing his personality, his persona, and everything. And you can't even imagine that this is a guy who 5 seconds earlier was hysterically crying and having a crazy kind of miscommunication on a gut level with his partner. But she's trying to understand him, and it's just not succeeding. So you're watching this gulf of a relationship, which is really devastating to be part of, and now you're seeing him smile as if none of that ever happened. And I know that he's had to do this who knows how many times. I've had to do it myself.
Let's all get a picture, yeah?
Yeah. Let's do it together.
Let's do it, yes.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Can you do a picture?
Ah.
Let's all get in. Everybody get in.
This is a moment where he's going to say, oh, let's all get in. Let's all take a picture. Here, Dawn. Here, Dawn. And he just kind of like, can you take it? And he's so sweet about it. But it's so in that action.
Hey, Don, can you take this picture for us?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, come on.
Look at you two guys. I'm the best ones. Two of the best ones.
He has no idea what he's just asked her to do. And it's one of the most belittling, really sad. You're on the outside. Here I'm going to take an amazing, happy picture. All these guys are having fun. So we specifically had a giant flash that would do this to the camera, because I think that this frame is really just special. It's like it imprints itself in your memory, even if it's just for a second. The fact that this is how happy everybody is, and this is where Emily is, and again, now we're really close to her. We are with her, separate from them, they're together. You can have the camera set up, and you can move very quickly throughout the scene to keep the performance alive, because there's nothing I hate more than, oh my God, that was amazing. Now let's turn around. And then you have to wait an hour and a half for everybody to switch everything over and get that. Because what I'm getting at here is I'm trying to get at the realism of the performance.
Two of the best ones. That's it.
And this was tough because, like, yeah, she has to sit there the whole time watching him have a good time and build to this moment where she's going to take this picture. And she turns away from him and wipes it away. And nobody here has any idea that that's what she's feeling. And then when the scene happens, we shoot the rehearsal always, because then that also is a rehearsal for our camera operators to see where they can get in better. And we're constantly having the conversation. It is an open book. Everybody's listening. Everybody knows what's going to happen. But at the same time, the actors don't really need to pay attention to what's if they're on camera, because they are on camera. They're always going to be on camera. So they have to perform. You know, there isn't that element of like, oh, I can take this one off. You can't, because you might be seen at some point. We're putting in all this time and effort to make it look like it just happened once.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great fight.
When the real Mark Kerr watched the movie, this scene, he's like, that's it. And I was very happy to have captured something that felt very real to him.